Our next trinomial is going to be very similar to factor. Remember that whenever you see that x squared, probably force yourself in a habit. Most of the times this term is going to be a product of binomials, both starting with an x, because when we FOIL, that x times x gives us that x squared. Remember to read the signs. As tempting as it is to want to say both negative, that is almost never the case. Remember that we want to look at the sign of that constant. The constant's a negative. Remember that the two constants of binomials multiply, meaning I'm going to need a positive times negative. I'm going to need different signs to multiply to get a negative. Well, that negative sign is what's going to tell us the larger of the two factors we're going to need to put with that negative sign, because when we combine them, they take the sign of the larger two numbers, is what gets that 9. And we'll see that here in a minute. Now again, a number like 36 has a lot of factors. It's easy to forget, oh wait, does 3 go into it? Does 4 go into it? Try to be systematic, at least as we're getting started here. Start easy. Always remember 1 times itself. As simple as that one is, that one's very common. 2 goes into it 18 times. 3 goes into it 12 times. Notice how we're just counting numerically. This way we don't forget anything or miss anything. 4 goes into it 9 times. 5 won't go into it, skip it. 6 times 6. But notice, here we are, we're done with the table. The table's never going to be that large. In fact, you're going to notice this is probably about as big a table as we're going to have with a lot of these problems. Now, last time when we had that plus, that meant they were the same sign. Whenever they're the same sign, even if they're both negative, we added them together. That's where that negative 7 came from. Remember that when we see this negative 36, we knew they were different. Whenever I'm going to have two numbers with different signs and I add them, I'm going to subtract, and that again is what takes the sign of the larger number. So always just subtract big number minus small number. 35, 16, 9, 5, 0. This is going to be kind of a fun one when we see it later. It's one of our special cases. But again, the easy way, grab the sign of the constant. When it's a plus, add them because of the same sign. When it's a minus, subtract them because they're going to do different signs. We look at what matches up. 9 and 9. There we go. 3 and 12 are my numbers. Remember that we said the larger number had to go with the negative. The bigger number had to go with the positive. Now, we can check this by fully foiling. X times x, x squared. X times negative 12, negative 12x. 3 times x, 3x. 3 times negative 12 is negative 36, right? That's why we picked them to be different signs, was because we needed that to be a negative. But now notice when I combine those two middle terms, negative 12x plus 3x, add the coefficients, take the sign of the larger number, I'm subtracting because they're different, hence why I subtracted here, hence why I added here. Take the sign of the larger number, that's what we want to read with those. And again, the more we FOIL these and combine these, the more used to why we're using the principles that we did. Now, bigger picture, notice those two constants. 3 times negative 12, 36, they have to multiply to be my constant. 3 plus negative 12, they have to add to be my middle coefficient. We will get to the point where we will no longer need the table. The table helps us remember it helps us reduce skipping or missing factors. But the more we see these, the easier it's going to be to just eyeball what multiplies to be the constant, adds to be that middle coefficient. The signs tell us everything.